Hey ho, it's been a while since I've posted. I wasn't going to do a video on one of my wildcats. It's an established wildcat and built several rifles in it, and it seems to be taking off. But I've had a bit of an argument with someone on one of the forums, unfortunately, about the Rebated Precision Magnum from Weatherby, and said that I just copied them. And that is just plain wrong. And someone on the other side of the world can come up with the same idea, I'm sure. But nearly 20 years ago, I came up with this idea before there was any compact magnums, Winchester, Ruger. None of those were around. And I needed something that was a bit more efficient and could run better. I ended up with a 6.5 version, a 7mm version, a 308 version, and a 338 version. Now, Weatherby have just brought out their 6.5 rebated Precision Magnum after their 338, which I did 20 years ago. That's it there. Little difference in the size. Mine's a little bit bigger base, bigger rim, only by about 5-6 thou. But there's the 7mm and there's the 308 and 338. I built special tooling to form the cases up out of 300 Win Mag because that was the most prolific brass that we had here in Tassie. And yeah, the 6.5 version, I didn't really follow that through. To me, it was going to be a barrel burner. I wasn't interested in barrel burner, and it gave up nothing that the 264 Winchester Magnum would do. The 7mm, very similar in ballistics to the 7mm Rem Mag, and quite literally it didn't give anything that the 7mm Rem Mag do. So why would you proceed with that when the 7mm Rem Mag does exactly the same thing and you can buy it off the shelf? So that one got shelved. Now, the 7mm, a lot of people are talking about the 7mm Rem Mag, the 7mm rebated compact Precision Magnum, because of the 6.5 and necking up and thinking how wonderful it's going to be. It's not going to be any better than the 7mm Rem Mag, which you can buy off the shelf. Why would you bother? That's why I didn't pursue it. I'm looking at revisiting this, shortening the shoulder down back a little bit, so it's going to be halfway between the 284 and 7mm, so the 284 Winchester Magnum. So it'll be halfway down between it. Bigger case, of course, and I think that one will be a good one to go with. Those aside, the next two I've followed up was the 338 and the 308. Now, the 338 was going to be a good puncher. It worked well. But again, it gave up nothing that the 338 Winchester Magnum would do. It would do exactly the same thing. I've got basically exactly the same ballistics. So there really wasn't much point. The 308, that was a different story. Like I said, I did this 20 years ago, so it's nothing new. And I've got some paperwork I will show you in a minute, along with some tooling. The 308 version became my 308 AC Magnum, which AC after me, of course. Basically, I could take any 3006, I can run my reamer in, clean your chamber up, same bolt, same magazine, and that's it, and same barrel, just new chamber with this, and then you had Magnum Performance. The ballistically, it turned out to be identical in ballistic data, but at slightly higher pressures with reduced powder charge than the 308 normal Magnum, which is basically your 7mm and your 338 case capacity, basically, your RAM mags. That one took off. I've done several 3006s. I've built several custom rifles just straight out with it. Dies were easy. I kept the same 25-degree shoulder for feeding, so it fed well. Dies, I converted 300 Win Mag dies simply by removing the crimp and machining the die back, and that basically was all that needed to be done. Easy conversion. The 7mm version of this, which I'm going to push ahead with the slightly reduced shoulder between the two of the 284 Winchester and the 7mm Rem Mag, will be the same in that I can use 7mm Rem Mag dies, machine the belt off, and there we go, done. Very easy to convert. Now, how did I do that? Well, I can see there, and you can see there, try and get that in there. That's PMC brass, but 300 Win Mag. So the belt and base is rebated. A headstock of my lathe, I made a special headstock tool that with the Morse tape it pops in, and basically the cartridge fits in like that, so that a live steady on the back, and then I machine the belt off and rebate the rim. Tooling for that, I ground up a special tip to make sure it was done. I'll try and get it out of there. I've written all my measurements down. I've been in the bag for a long time. You see there, I've got the 264 and 308 tooltip settings, the groove and all that, so that worked well. But that's basically the tool there I've used. You can see that. So it cuts the angle and the depth. And of course I'm going to use the same tool to turn over to machine the belt off and then cut the groove. Yeah, so look at that. That worked well. I can do, after forming the brass and kneeling and forming the brass, it takes me like 30 seconds to do one piece of brass. It's spinning up in the lathe. I also had some reamers made by Manson Tooling. So that all the tooling has been made for it, so it works well. So that's the Magnum finishing reamer. We've got this one, it's the Magnum rougher and chamber reamer. Now, this originally was the first reiteration. The tolerances weren't quite right for what we were, as you find out with when you're starting something new. So the AC Magnum was turned into a rougher size, and then a new reamer made of the new specs, which turns out perfectly. There's always a few teething little problems. Now, did I copy them or did I not? Well, here's my specifications which I sent Manson. I basically photoed a standard reamer. It's a Magnum finishing reamer. You can see that there. Try and zoom in a little bit and see how we go. Oh, there you go. Now, here's the thing. I took a photo of it and gave the free bore length and all the rest of it and all the specifications down the bottom of that. So I kept the 25-degree angle for feeding, and it was ease of making dies and converting dies. I had the reamer made. There was a second specification of the reamer, and you can notice the difference in the thickness and the length compared to the RPM. The 2.5-inch length, and the base diameter of mine's a little thicker. The so they're not 308, but you get the idea. My rim is a little bit thicker as well. But here's the specifications for Manson. I don't know if you see that date right there. That's the reiteration of the second drawing of the second reiteration, rather, in May 2011. So, yeah. Now, my good friend and I worked on this. He came to me and said, I reckon this is going to work. There's nothing else around like it. Let's build one. Here's some money, build me a rifle. So I did. And my good friend Wayne, I won't say his last name, but he believed in it enough for me to build a rifle, and there's an hour-long video of this actual shooting of this way back when I had a lot more hair and a lot less grey, and I was a hell of a lot skinnier. And it goes for an hour, and at some point I will try and edit it and put it up, because in some areas I actually forgot that the camera was still rolling while we're down range. And the accuracy potential and velocities that we're getting was just phenomenal. It was really, really good. So, no, the rebated 338 Weatherby Rebated Precision Magnum has been done by me at least 20 years ago, and you got 12 years ago from the last reiteration of the 308. The 6.5, we didn't go ahead with that because it was nothing that the other wouldn't give. And look, the 7mm version, yeah, I think, yep, it was done around the same time. So, no, it's not new. My 308 ACM, yeah, that's the one that really paid the bills, as it were. But at the end of the day, you know, no matter what I did, as my mate said to me, he said, oh, I thought you patented it and all the rest of it. I said, well, it's very difficult to patent it, and it's really, as wildcatters know, there's no point patenting something, because someone along the line can just change a tiny little thing. Like, let's take the 338 version, for example, right? Now, when that came out, Wayne said to me, he said, they've copied you, Andrew. I said, well, yeah, but their base is smaller. It's not a 480 rim, it's a 476 rim. They've got a 500 base. I've got a 510 base. All they've got to do is change things significantly enough with little tweaks here and there, and then they avoid copyrights. So yeah, there's really not much point. You know. But the whole point of this video is to say that no, I did not copy someone else's work. They've practically copied mine. Without knowing, of course, because I don't put a lot of videos up. I don't like to toot my own horn a lot. I like to work in the workshop. What you see is what you get. I don't do a lot of editing. Yeah, you see it all, warts and all, basically. So yeah, there it is. Oh, of course the headspace gauges. Forgot to mention those. They were made as well by Manson. So Manson Remus have copies of my schematics to build the ACM, the 7mm. So yeah, it is what it is, fellas and ladies and gentlemen. And so keep shooting straight, eh? And yeah, to those of you who naysayers are saying that I copied someone else, I'm sorry, no, I didn't. This has been done quite a long time ago, and it's nothing new. Nothing new at all. And we'll see how we go with the 7mm version, the shortened 7mm version, and see what that gives up. I mean, you've got the 284 Shahane, which is an improved version of that. And I think that my version of the 7mm will actually crap all over the Shahane, to be honest with you. It's, yeah. I think it'll probably be a good little round. Anyway, put down in the comments and see what you reckon. If you reckon I should continue with the 7mm. I mean, I don't like barrel burners. I think barrels for life. Incidentally, 185 grain Lepore Senars out of that, 2850 standard feet per second. Our first testing was 3,500. But, yeah, we had some excessively high pressures, as you always do with something new that you haven't played with. But I was aiming around the, around the 28 and 2,900 feet per second to give it good barrel life and good performance at the same time. And I think the shortened version of the 7mm will do just that too. The 284 in the middle there. I think it would be a screamer. We'd be pushing 180s around the, I'd imagine, around the 3,000 feet per second mark. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and comment down below if you think I should continue on with a 7mm version. Yep, and yeah, it's nothing new. Cheers, guys.